Hello and welcome to VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Bongani. Thank you so much for joining us today. On this episode of Red Carpet, we have a training center aiming to inspire filmmakers in Morocco, and Ghanaian American entrepreneur Nina Oduro is on a mission to amplify African food. Let's get on with the show. And let's start the show with some highlights of the latest entertainment news from around the world. In music news, Nigerian Afrobeat superstar Burna Boy continues to make headlines and more history. The singer recently performed in front of 40,000 fans at a sold-out La Défense Arena in Paris, France, during his Love Damini World Tour. In film news, Netflix has announced the release of its first African animated series, Super Team 4. Created by Zambian writer Malenga Molendema, the new series follows 4 teenage girls living in a neo-futuristic African city called Lusaka, Zambia, who are recruited by a retired secret agent who is committed to saving the world. Netflix's growing original animated programming lineup, featuring programming created by international artists for children and families, is now available in 190 countries. And let's take a look at some film news. In Rabat, Morocco, a group of young film enthusiasts have created the Univers Ciné or UCP, an association that aims to get more young people interested in cinema and audiovisual production. VOA's Emmanuel Mojibaye has this story from Casablanca, Morocco, narrated by Salem Solomon. Here is more.
3 years ago in Morocco, a young Ghanaian wanted to share his passion for cinema and its ability to change the world. So he founded the artistic association Univers Ciné or the UCP.
We are promoting art and culture as well as African diversity, the richness found here in Africa. We can create jobs thanks to the cinema. So if we mobilize young people and teach them the craft of filmmaking, those who may find themselves without work will be able to train themselves and be self-sufficient.
Since Kamara started the group, it has grown to 94 members from a variety of African countries. The UCP offers a number of classes. The most recent is a master class on audiovisual and cinematographic production and distribution.
Here at UCP, before starting a production, whether cinematographic or television or radio, you have to start with training. Because the students are young, they are passionate, but they are not necessarily professional.
The UCP also produces video and audio clips and programs such as Letterbox, hosted by Silver Jinganoji, the communications officer.
It's a show that aims to promote young talent, to highlight the talent which is hidden because these young people are talented but don't have many opportunities. So Letterbox goes to these people to find out a bit about what they do and show it to everyone.
Ebade Production, a larger company whose work includes commercials, news reports, and sporting events, supports the UCP's efforts to find and develop talent.
These young people, if we trust them, and if we offer them a good framework where the necessary conditions are met, they will be able to do very interesting things that can contribute to human development.
One of UCP's major projects is A Magic Voice, a film that will highlight how Africa's diverse cultures are passed on through the oral tradition. For Emmanuel Mouajidimbai in Casablanca, Morocco, Salem Solomon, VOA News.
The U.S. capital, Washington, D.C., known globally as one of the most important cities in politics, is also known for its diversity. The city is home to one of the most vibrant African immigrant communities, many contributing to the socio-cultural landscape through their food culture, practices, and lifestyle. Ghanaian American entrepreneur Nina Oduro is on a mission to connect and amplify African immigrant food stories, experiences through her organization Dine Diaspora, while working to assist and increase the visibility of Black women working in the food and beverage industry. She joined me in the studio to discuss her business. Let's take a look.
So DC has always been rich with culture and always been rich with people that are inquisitive about culture from all experiences, all backgrounds, all races, all ethnicities. However, DC is very rich in the African diaspora. Not only do we have African Americans, we have a vast array of Africans, Caribbean culture, all here in one place. And that allows for a really amazing celebration of food through the African diaspora lens. And there's a number of restaurants that showcase that now. Even back then when we started, there were so many. And you know what? Business is hard, and restaurant businesses are hard. If you're lucky to be in business in a restaurant after 5 years, yet we have some amazing African restaurants that have actually sustained that. One of them is Bukum, which is Nigerian and Ghanaian. 20 years. Can you imagine?
Absolutely.
20 years of having a restaurant here in DC.
Recently, they're still there. They're still working.
Still thriving.
They're thriving. Absolutely.
And honestly, part of a journey and a history of what it means to be Black and African in DC, they hold that experience, right? Apio has been here for way more than 5 years. So we're really, Apio is also Ghanaian, but we have some new additions. Moi Moi is also mixing African cuisine with African American heritage cuisine, which is Southern, honestly, right? And that isn't actually too far away from African culture, and yet it's been evolved. And I think we all need to experience it and think about it in ways in which we understand those connections of what it means to have African American cuisine and where it came from, which is actually through the transatlantic slave trade. And so we're all interconnected in that way, and there's these restaurants that are really doing their part to tell their stories through food.
And food is the one connector really that is universal. How would you describe or compare the DC food scene to other big cities like New York that is also very diverse?
Yeah, so I think there's very interesting to compare. Let's say DC is robust, and like I said, it can be transient, and yet the people that actually live here and stay here really are able to create restaurants and opportunity, even experiences, pop-ups, whatever it is, to bring forth their culture. But you also have to think about DC being so ingrained in government and international development work. So you always have this audience that's really coming to
curious,
embrace.
They want to discover new cultures.
I think that can be hard in other cities, but also, the cost of, actually, having a restaurant in the center of town is different. In New York, what I'm seeing now is more African restaurants emerging in the city. This is phenomenal. 5 years ago, we couldn't say that. Lego's restaurant in Manhattan, not just in Manhattan, in Times Square. Absolutely. This is absolutely revolutionary for Black people and African diaspora people to have that in Times Square, for us to be able to get jollof or whatever we're looking for, right? There's other restaurants that are popping up near it.
Chef Thiam's restaurants.
Yes. So it's, it's Kwame Onuachi's restaurant. These are not just restaurants that are popping up. There's been restaurants for decades, but they're really making a claim and a stake into the real estate, saying that we deserve to be at the center as well. And our foods are just as good as any other cultures that have had those opportunities to be at the forefront of what it means to be American cuisine. Well, right now, I think African cuisine, African diaspora cuisine, Black cuisine is American cuisine. Right. And that's what we're seeing as showing up along the streets, where we can enjoy it with all the other foods that are just as accessible.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, could potentially transform arts and entertainment, from music to movies, but it's also raising concerns. Is AI a creative tool or a threat to creators and artists? VOA's Michael Sullivan examines the question. Let's take a look.
German artist Boris Eldagson won a prestigious Sony World Photography Award in March, but turned it down, admitting that his entry was not a photograph, but an AI-generated image. He said he hoped to start a discussion. AI tools such as ChatGPT can also write a story, says AI researcher Jonathan May at the University of Southern California.
Coherent story for the most part, but not particularly a very interesting story. I think if I'm not an editor of fiction or anything like that, but from what I've seen, the fiction that comes out from these models is not anything that I would ever pay to have published.
An Emmy Award-winning composer who has served as music director for 2 Olympic Games says AI can produce background music for game shows, for example.
The criteria is not that it be brilliantly unique. The idea is that it have energy, or that it has humor, or that it is conveying the right emotion.
He says AI can create that, but AI tools lack the passion of an artist. Researcher Jonathan May agrees.
They don't have the lived experience. They don't have the traumas and the day-to-day lives and the developing worldview as growing up as a human that we as other humans can relate to.
And they lack the creative spark that hasn't yet been programmed into a computer. Mike O'Sullivan, VOA News, Los Angeles.
And now to sports. A young Ugandan man orphaned at childhood dreams of playing in US Major League Baseball and has turned his training into a social media sensation. 18-year-old Dennis Kasumba, who earns a living by cleaning cow sheds, can't afford professional equipment, so he uses old tires and oil drums filled with water to train. VOA's Halima Atumani reports from Wakiso district in Uganda. Here is more.
Opportunity often comes to those who are prepared, and Ugandan baseball player Dennis Kasumba, who grew up as an orphan, lives up to this adage. Training 3 times a day, Kasumba, who has become a social media sensation among baseball fans, has created his own gym, improvising with everything that can make him a better and stronger player. Kasumba recalls one of his videos that went viral, earning him a spot on the US television show Sports Center.
I heard my phone pinging and wondered what was going on. Little did I know that my video had been played on the biggest television stations in America. As I was walking to the field, colleagues called me out saying, "Sports Center was relaying your video. Have you watched it?" I told them my family doesn't own a television set.
He is starting to see his efforts pay off. Kasumba has received an invitation to play with a U.S. team, the Frederick Keys, in the state of Maryland in an amateur league over the summer season starting June 1st. He is already building an American fan base. One of the people who was impressed by Kasumba's videos is baseball fan and lawyer Joshua William from Atlanta in the U.S. state of Georgia, who spoke to VOA via Zoom.
My sons play travel baseball, and we were traveling for a tournament down in Florida, and I was just scrolling through my phone and I saw one of Kasumba's videos and was just like, wow, this kid is really good. And so I just kind of reached out to him through Facebook, and we started talking, and he started telling me his dreams of how he wants to play baseball professionally.
Since then, William has been working hard for Kasumba to get a U.S. visa so he can travel to play in the MLB Draft League. Back home, Semper John Bosco, a baseball coach, says he's worked with Kasumba for a couple of years, despite big challenges.
The baseball equipment are scarce in the country. We just get them through donations from friends who see what we do, and they provide this equipment to us. So when it comes to gym work, it is expensive for us to go to gym. You have to pay a lot of money, so we have to improvise, just like you see Kasumba.
Uganda is home to only 2 baseball fields, including one donated by Japan and American donors. After having 3 U.S. visa applications denied, on Thursday, Lady Luck finally smiled upon Kasumba, who got the visa. He can now prepare to leave Uganda to play in the U.S. over the summer and work toward his goal of being a professional baseball player. Halima Athmani for VOA News, Wakiso, Uganda.
Thank you so much for watching VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Bunganyi. For more entertainment news, remember to check us out at voaafrica.com. We are also on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Do not forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. Until next time, goodbye everyone.